Hello everyone, welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fix YouTube channel. My name's FPL Phillips and here's your Game Week 5 edition of Eddie versus the Algorithm, the series where every week of the season we're looking at the computer-generated team that's calculated by the algorithm over at fantasyfootballfix.com and judged to have the highest predicted points total ahead of the upcoming game week, essentially the best free hit team for that game week. I then put together my own free hit team chosen by myself from that game week, and we see if I can outscore the algorithm team 4 points and can the man beat the machine in terms of an FPL perspective. So if you'd like to follow along with this series for the rest of the season and you're new around here, make sure to subscribe down below and leave a thumbs up if you have been enjoying it so far. It's always good to know that you guys are enjoying following along with the story. Of course, in game week 4, we need to have a little recap there. We actually tied myself and the algorithm 4 points in this game week, and it was 1-0 to me going into that game week, so we're going to leave it as 1 point added on for each of us. 2-1 to me in the series, that means so far. Let's see if I can establish a 2-point lead over the algorithm as we move into game week 5, which of course has a Tuesday deadline today at 6 PM, so make sure you don't miss it. But let's have a look at the computer team. So for game week 5, we're looking at a 4-4-2 with 69 predicted points in total, which is a pretty nice score for the algorithm, and you'd hope so with a very nice set of fixtures that we've got on offer this week for our FPL assets. And in goal between the sticks for the algorithm, it's going to be Robert Sanchez of Brighton, who have looked like one of the best, if not the best, defence in the league so far this campaign. Of course, the only tricky bit with the fixture against Fulham is going to be if Mitrovic puts the ball in the back of the net, which he's proven that he can do really against any defence in the league so far. But I'd really back Brighton to get another clean sheet, and Sanchez, as we've seen, can be great on the bonus points and save points as well, getting an 8-pointer last week in game week 4. So a very nice selection for the algorithm. He's my favourite keeper to own at the moment. I'm even considering in my own personal team making a switch across from Ramsdale to Sanchez. So a very, very nice option at 4.5 million, and of course opens up outfield slots for other teams such as Arsenal, such as Man City. You may own an Ederson or Ramsdale, like I said, at the moment. And going for Brighton goalkeeper actually means that you're not going to want to triple up too much on the outfield Brighton assets, whereas you might want to do so on the Arsenal or Man City assets, if that makes sense. So Sanchez, a very, very good option, not just for this game week, but long term as well, up until where a popular opportunity is going to be at the game week 9 wildcard. So very, very much a fan of Sanchez in goal for the algorithm. A very nice selection. It's good to see the computer backing up the human analysis as well. In defence, we're going for a back four with a rather surprising pick in there with Kilman against Bournemouth. Of course, a very nice fixture, despite Wolves not looking the strongest defence in the league. Bournemouth have been one of the worst attacks, of course, suffering a 9-0 defeat to Liverpool in game week 4, which wasn't nice to see. They've recently lost their manager as well, so how will they respond to that? You never know. Sometimes when caretaker managers come in, a team can actually bounce back. So we'll see how Wolves get on against Bournemouth, but you'd have to back a Wolves defender to be a decent pick for this game week alone. We've then got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's coming off the back of a 17-pointer in game week 4 against that Bournemouth side, so you'd have to stick with him really, despite Newcastle not being the easiest fixture in the league. Liverpool have looked very strong at home, and you can't put it past Trent to not get another double-digit haul. We've then got Lewis Dunk, so doubling up on the Brighton defence for that, as mentioned, fixture against Fulham that looks very nice indeed. A very interesting 4.5 million defender, but we're going to look in a second at a different 4.5 defender from the same team that could be emerging as an option. It's definitely one to keep your eye on. And then finally, we've got Kyle Walker at home to Nottingham Forest. A very nice fixture for Manchester City. Interesting to see that the algorithm's chosen not to spend the extra money to bring in João Cancelo. Perhaps his poor underlying data in terms of expected goal involvement so far this season are putting the computer off. But as mentioned, before we move into the midfield, I did want to have a bit of a look at some defenders around the 4.5 million price mark that could be some good options. And the player that I was mentioning earlier is Estupiñán, the man who's come into Brighton and playing in that left wing-back role. And we saw in the game that he's played minutes so far. He's had some very good attacking data, some very good expected goal involvements for him. And expected assists of 0.41 from, albeit a very small sample size, is way above the likes of a Lewis Dunk, who of course is going to have more of a goal threat, you'd say, from set pieces, but not much of an assist threat there for the centre-half. So Estupiñán could be a really good asset, and expected FPL points per 90 so far, above his teammates as well. But Saliba, around that price point, looks the best asset to own at the moment, really, if you can get onto him as an Arsenal player. And yeah, 6.47 expected FPL points per 90 when he's played every minute so far, I believe, is a very, very nice total for him, and expected clean sheet points looking very strong as well. Of course, the fixtures this week look really good across the board for all four of these players, with Aston Villa looking like a pretty poor side as well under Steven Gerrard, who could be the next manager in danger, really. And predicted points, out of the four of them, it is Lewis Dunk who comes in highest, which is why he's made his way into this algorithm 11. Estupinan's not got much data to go on yet, so that's why the computer's probably struggling to come up with a very decent predicted points total for him. But over the next five, we can see that Saliba, 18.7, not too far ahead of Lewis Dunk in second, but he looks like the option to own if you can afford that little bit extra to bring in the Arsenal man. But some very good options in there. Kilman I probably wouldn't be looking at as a long-term asset, but yeah, still a very nice pick to go for defender from any team against Bournemouth. Interesting to see that they've gone with Kilman ahead of the likes of Johnny or Aït-Nouri, who you think might be a little bit more attacking as an option. In midfield then, we're seeing the likes of Mohamed Salah making it back into the team along with Martinelli, but some new additions into the side are Pascal Gross and Kevin De Bruyne. And Pascal Gross has really kicked on this season, especially in the last two game weeks. He's looked like a really key asset to own, and Brighton triple up is completed in this algorithm side with the German coming into the midfield. Fulham away, a pretty nice fixture to go for from an attacking aspect as well, ranking pretty high on the fixture difficulty rankings over at fantasyfootballfix.com, which of course you can find via the links down below in the description. And his Opta stats look very good as well. When we look at the expected assists and the expected goals, Pascal Gross is firing very well, and Stupinan coming in and pushing Trossard a little bit farther forward doesn't seem to have affected Pascal Gross's output too much, of course grabbing a goal in game week 4 and an 11-point haul for his owners. And then De Bruyne, who looks like a very good option to own, not quite up there with the likes of Salah in terms of underlying data, despite what some would argue a pretty poor start to the season for the Egyptian. Salah still looks very good, it's just a case of living up to that 13 million price tag that has been put on in. But really, when I'm considering spending funds elsewhere, I can't see anywhere else I'd rather have the funds really than in Mohamed Salah at the moment. But Kevin De Bruyne certainly looks like a nice option, especially for this game week against Nottingham Forest, and Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland having that link up should be a nice option to go for, who I'm assuming is that captain option up front. And of course it is. It's Erling Haaland who takes the armband this week for the fixture against Nottingham Forest, having the highest predicted points total of any player for this week. If you want to check the full list, of course, head over to fantasyfootballfix.com. The link to that is down below in the description. And then Gabriel Jesus as the second forward. As mentioned, Aston Villa haven't looked that great. They've got that home fixture against them, the Gunners, so Martinelli and Jesus, once again with the double up for the algorithm, looks a very nice option. And of course, there'll be a lot of people watching, I imagine, who own the pair of them. So it's very nice to see that the computer and the algorithm is predicting some decent points total for the pair of them this week. On the bench this week for the algorithm is Emerson, who's of course moved across to West Ham and is another option to go for at that 4.0 price mark, alongside Patterson and Nico Williams as options. And then El Neni and Archer make up the other two sub positions, who I don't imagine will be appearing having to come off the bench anytime soon. But now I need to go away and actually change this around, see what I can come up with, and reveal to you what team I'm going for looking forward to game week 5. Let's have a look then. We can have a switch over. And here's the team I've gone for then. I've gone with Sanchez and stuck with him in goal, but we've had a bit of a change around with the personnel in the 4-4-2 formation. My predicted points totals only come out at 64 predicted points, but here is the 11 that I've gone with instead. A few more changes, you'd argue, than last week, but I've kept quite a bit of the core of the team the same. Trent Alexander-Arnold still in there. We've got Salah still. Pascal Gross is in there still as well. The front line is said the same as well, but I've actually lost Kevin De Bruyne, which is a bit of a risky move, I will imagine. I just quite fancy Gundogan to do pretty well this week, and I've also gone with Cancelo. I'm banking on him to get a bit further forward in this game against Nottingham Forest, where hopefully it will open up maybe a little bit earlier on and allow him to push a bit further forward than we have seen him doing so far this season. Of course, he's still averaging a pretty good points total over the first couple of fixtures. It's important not to lose sight of how well Cancelo did in game week 2, of course, as well. He did pretty well there. It's just game weeks 3 and 4 where he's really disappointed, but I still think he's a much better option than Kyle Walker going forward, so I'm willing to make that sacrifice and De Bruyne down to Gundogan, who I believe will start and do very well. He's been great from an attacking aspect when he started in FPL in recent years, and we saw in game week 2 when he scored that goal, he's very clinical in front of goal as well. I've also gone for Rodrigo for that home game against Everton, which I think looks like a very, very enticing fixture indeed. And then also Reece James and Saliba. In defence, we already discussed Saliba, but Reece James, I think it's very difficult to not go for him when he's getting a pretty easy fixture and he's pretty much nailed to start. I know it might well be at the right centre-back position again, but I'm hoping with Chelsea centre-backs returning, Fofana coming in, etc. I don't believe Fofana will start, but you never know. There might be a chance that Reece James gets pushed back to right wing-back, or even at some point in the game, he gets put to that right wing-back role again. And that's where, of course, we're looking more likely to see goals and assists from him in that position. So yeah, this is my team for this week. Of course, a lower predicted points total. Dunk's on the bench there, just in case we do need him, because there may be some Manchester City rotation and like for like with other teams with a congested fixture schedule. But yeah, let me know. Who do you think is going to win out of myself and the algorithm? Let me know down below in the comments. I'm always interested to see who you think is going to perform better, and then actually seeing and weighing up who did better in the actual game week. The overall consensus last week was a little bit mixed, so I'm interested to see if more of you are backing the algorithm this week, of course, with some nice picks such as Kilman against Bournemouth, who are interesting. But do you back my team? Do you back the algorithm? Let me know down below in the comments. Of course, don't miss the deadline today, and I wish you all the best of luck ahead of Game Week 5. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all very soon.